We'd like to welcome everybody to this wonderful ceremony. We have many guests in the building today in the auditorium. We'd like to welcome the parents and the grandparents. Mr. Tullio here is our Director of Curriculum and Instruction. I saw one board member, Mr. Roussis, here. I'd like to welcome him. I'm not sure if any other board members are here, but we'd like to welcome those people. We would really appreciate your best behavior to honor these fine students. And at this time, we're going to carry on a tradition that we've had here for over 30, 35 years, and that is we will have a formal entrance by our seniors. We ask everyone else to rise and remain standing until I seat you. Please rise. Thank you. You may be seated. Just got word that Mrs. DeCapua, another board member, is here. Welcome. Any other board members here before I start here? It's great to have you here. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the visitors, the grandparents, and the parents for showing up today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies for today's event, and that is Danya Bajwa.
Welcome to the 2019 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. The students we are about to introduce were selected into the Canfield chapter of the National Honor Society because they excelled in scholarship, character, leadership, and service. These four qualities are the founding pillars of NHS, as represented by the four candles we will soon light. As the inductees are announced, they will come forward and receive their medals. Then they will sign the membership book as having been inducted on April 17th of 2019.
Elisa Acrodino, escorted by her parents, Rob and Nikki Acrodino. Braden Beck, escorted by George and Carolyn Beck. Aaron Bell, escorted by Mr. and Mrs. Bell. Christine Bennett, escorted by Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. Joey Bruno, escorted by Rich and Jessica Archer. Marina Campos, escorted by George and Patty Campos. Angelo Sestone, escorted by Mrs. Carla Sestone. Jenna Delicio, escorted by Jim and Jamie Delicio. Gabby Dominovich, escorted by Bill and Sally Dominovich. Cheyenne Donnarummo, escorted by Miss Wendy Diley Donnarummo. Brianna Dunlap, escorted by Roberta Dunlap. Katie Dysert, escorted by Sarah Dysert. Holly Eberly, escorted by Dr. Leroy and Mrs. Sherry Eberly. Jake Fay, escorted by Michael Fay. Duncan Harlan, escorted by Mr. and Mrs. Michael and Beth Ann Harlan. Nicholas Hartman, escorted by his parents Mike and Beth Hartman. Abigail Havrilla, escorted by Andy and Carlene Havrilla. Cameron Holland-Donor, escorted by Spencer and Denise Holland-Donor. Zoe Cabezzo, escorted by Gary and Jessica Cabezzo. Chloe Kalina, escorted by Eric and Tara Kalina. Sydney Kincaid, escorted by Brad and Amy Kincaid. Andrea Klempe, escorted by her parents John and Karen Klempe. Joanna Klicka, escorted by Jerry and Christine Klicka. Layali Kasuni, escorted by Mamet Kasuni and Nadia Ahmed. Annika Lazazara Swanson, escorted by Michael Lazazara.
Caroline Lazowski, escorted by Edward and Kimberly Lazowski. Olivia Love, escorted by Randy Love. Alex Love, escorted by Terry Love. Grace Mangapora, escorted by Jim and Kim Mangapora. Alexis Mattil, escorted by her mom, Jill Mattil, and her brother, Tyler Mattil. Samuel Moore, escorted by Mr. and Mrs. James Moore. Jillian Mountcastle, escorted by James Mountcastle and Kendra Fowler. Sanjana Nalapanini, escorted by Dr. Sutir and Mrs. Shanti Nalapanini. Sophia Nettie, escorted by Mark Nettie. Aiden Orlovsky, escorted by Ray and Kim Orlovsky. Kushi Patel, escorted by her mother, Sarika Patel. Audra Pesco, escorted by Doug and Kathleen Pesco. Athena Polis, escorted by George and Tammy Polis. Emily Sophia Riley Gomez, escorted by Sandra Gomez Dundee. Kate Ross, escorted by Mr. and Mrs. Doug Ross. Angel Russo, escorted by Larry and Christine Russo. Ethan Scalzo, escorted by Louie and Jody Scalzo. Joe Scolari, escorted by Mrs. Scolari. Ava Shapiro, escorted by her parents, Sam and Sabrina Shapiro. Robert Smallwood, escorted by Bob and Jennifer Smallwood. Ayusha Thapa, escorted by Mr. Thapa. Ashley Thompson, escorted by her mom, Connie Augustine Thompson, and her sister, Brianna Thompson. Seth Velker, escorted by his mother, Lisa Velker. Ben Weiss, escorted by his parents, Stephen and Wendy Weiss. Riley Wilkins, escorted by Mr. and Mrs. Wilkins.
At this time, Alexis Burnett will be speaking on the pillar of character.
Character is like a tree, and reputation its shadow. The shadow is what we think it is, and the tree is the real thing. Abraham Lincoln. Our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, is a model for honesty and integrity. Most historians agree that Lincoln was true to his moral beliefs even in times of difficulty. These traits of good character help him navigate our country through one of the most precarious times in our history. In this quote, Lincoln makes a very important distinction between reputation and character. He indicates that reputation is a perception that is not real, a shadow. He emphasizes that character is the true, solid foundation of a person. While in high school, we often worry about what our reputations might be. How are we viewed by others? Are we a nerd, a jock, a mean girl, an outcast? But reputation is really just a shadow of the thing that is real, good character. Now, what is good character? No one is born with good character. It isn't determined by a single good act. It's making the right little choices each day. It's making the hard call. It's how you decide to treat other people and how you react when people interact with you. It's making the right choice, even when no one is around. People with good character do the right thing, even if it costs them something more than they wanted to pay. This is especially difficult in high school. The pressures to fit in and the academic stressors can often overwhelm good judgment. Everyone is simultaneously trying to fit in and stand out, and this can make integrity, honesty, fairness, and compassion secondary concerns. But a person's character lies in their own hands. It is those who make a conscious choice to make each decision with honesty and integrity each day who truly have what we call the pillar of character. We are fortunate to have been a part of the Canfield High School community where the students show the pillar of character. The students here have done things as simple as make room for a lonely student at the lunch table or offer a smile to someone in the hall. They have taken part in projects that aid our community without any overt recognition. They have supported others in times of need. They have taken the unpopular road because it was the right thing to do. The students here on this stage illustrate the meaning behind Lincoln's words by following their own moral compass and making decisions based on character rather than reputation, and will continue to strive to exhibit the pillar of character going forward. I will now light the candle for the pillar of character.
At this time, Julia Pacello will be speaking on the pillar of leadership.
When we were in elementary school, each week our teachers assigned line leaders who would lead the class on trips around the school. Since then, the word leader has conjured up an image of someone somehow ahead or in front of a group. But this is not the case of most leaders. Take a second and imagine the most influential people in your life. For most of us, this list includes people that are coaches, teachers, family, or friends. For most of us, these individuals do not necessarily fit the heightened image of what we have created as a leader. Yet, all of these individuals are leaders. Former President John Quincy Adams once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." A true leader is someone who embodies all of the pillars of National Honor Society. A true leader is someone with strong character, someone who is willing to stand up for what is right and is supportive and motivating to those around them. A true leader is someone who understands scholarship through passionate curiosity and diverges onto new paths of their own creation. Finally, a true leader is someone who serves others and leaves a positive impact wherever they go. All of the students on this stage have demonstrated many of the qualities of a true leader, and I challenge all of them to continue to inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more. I cannot wait to hear about all of the amazing things that their futures hold. I will now light the candle for the pillar of leadership.
At this time, Isabella Audia will speak on the pillar of service.
To apply to become a member of the National Honor Society, each applicant must complete at least 72,000 seconds of community service each year, or 20 hours. And for lots of students wanting to apply, I think that the service requirement is one of the greatest obstacles. You don't know how or when to get hours or where to even find service opportunities. I mean, think back to 8th grade orientation. You're walking around, you see the NHS table, and you think, that looks good on college applications. Helping people's cool too, I guess. And you pick up the paper and read the service requirement, and all of a sudden, 20 hours, that's almost a whole day. And even though I joke about it now, completing 20 hours of service is hard, especially freshman year. I mean, that's the point. That's why it's a requirement. It's not supposed to be easy, at least not right away. What most people don't understand or see at first is that service looks different to each individual. There is no one generic definition of service. There is no one right way to serve your community. Getting the required 20 hours of service freshman year is often a challenge because you don't know what service looks like to you yet, and you don't understand what it means to you yet. Once you get rid of that image of whatever you are led to believe that service is, you'll realize that there are 1,000,001 ways that you can serve your community. If you like animals, volunteer at a shelter. If you're allergic to cats, maybe don't do that. Find a cause that you are passionate about. Not only will this make your volunteer experience more enjoyable for you, but whoever you're working for or with will appreciate your service even more knowing that there's a genuine passion behind it. So to all the underclassmen who struggled to get their 20 hours this year, hang in there. Once you find something that you're passionate about, you will go above and beyond the 20-hour requirement without even realizing it. And congratulations to all the juniors up on the stage today. I hope you have all found a place where you feel like your specific service is needed. One of the most important lessons that I have learned through my time as a member of NHS and through service is that everyone has specific talents and passions that they can use to help others. Being able to help someone or support a cause feels amazing, but being able to help someone or support a cause in a way that is true to who you are and what you love and what you're passionate about feels even better. So I encourage everyone here to serve the community or those around you in a way that only you can. If you can learn to do that, then serving others won't feel like 72,000 agonizing seconds that you're required to do. Service to the community and to others will simply become a part of your lifestyle. I will now light the candle for the pillar of service.
At this time, Claire Boleyn will give the final speech on the pillar of scholarship.
I'd like to begin with a quote from successful entrepreneur Gabrielle McCormick. Going after scholarship is living a few years of your life like most students won't, so that you can live the rest of your life like most students can't. The students seated on this stage today exemplify this message. They have worked tirelessly and dedicated themselves to academia and to the pursuit of knowledge. They have spent countless hours studying, thereby earning the highest grades in their classes and obtaining a GPA of at least a 3.75. These students are truly the top of their class. However, scholarship encompasses much more than merely having good grades or high test scores. The students who truly embody the pillar of scholarship are those who are constantly pushing themselves further. These students are dedicated to learning not simply for the grades, but because they are bettering themselves through their knowledge of the world around them. They readily embrace challenges because they view it as a learning experience, and they recognize that these challenges only serve to better themselves. As renowned athlete Mia Hamm once said, "Take your victories, whatever they may be. Cherish them, use them, but don't settle for them. The students seated on this stage today have refused to settle for anything less than their best. And every day, they continue to push themselves and strive for greatness. These students have already accomplished so many amazing things, and I know their achievements will only grow as they continue on with their lives. I will now light the candle for the pillar of scholarship.
Mr. Chris Jennings is an English teacher at Canfield High School and can be found in room 107. He has been teaching for 12 years, 7 of those here at Canfield High School. Mr. Jennings is also an assistant speech coach and the advisor of the journalism program. He loves baseball, books, movies, concerts, and cooking. While he enjoys traveling and exploring new places, his favorite place to be is at home with his wife and 2 cats. Why is he speaking here today? Because Mr. Wenzel asked him to. Let's see what he has to say.
Hello. Very nervous, guys. This is weird. So first of all, thank you, Mr. Wenzel, for asking me to speak here today, for thinking I have something valuable to share with all of you. Congratulations to all of you newly inducted today. As a fellow member of National Honor Society, I know how hard it is to get to this point, so congratulations. I've been teaching for 12 years. I'm currently 34, and I'll be 35 next month. To put that into perspective, when I was inducted into National Honor Society, Joe Scolari hadn't been born yet. I know it's hard to imagine a world without Joe Scolari, but I lived in it. It was a strange time. When I was in high school, I had great English teachers, people who brought literature to life, who helped me find my voice as a writer and think about the world in new ways. I pretended to read so many great books in high school. I remember the first time I pretended to read The Great Gatsby as a junior. It was one of the great accomplishments of my young life when the teacher asked if I'd turned in my summer reading notes because she couldn't find them. And I said yes, and she gave me full credit for it. I, in fact, hadn't turned in those notes, nor had I even done them. And my friends and I learned a valuable lesson that day. We learned how clueless that first year teacher was, and that we could get away with just about anything. 7 years later, I was that first year teacher, and I remember the second day of school that year. I had assigned a short story for homework the previous day, and I came in psyched to talk about it, only to quickly find that no one had read it. And if anyone had, they weren't saying anything, probably because it was more fun to watch me sweat and squirm to figure out what to do. And the 17-year-old version of me was somewhere out there smiling and laughing. 6 years after that, when I actually read The Great Gatsby for the first time, I couldn't believe what I'd missed. I knew I'd grown up because I realized how stupid I'd been for taking that shortcut back in high school and for being so proud of it. I wished I'd read that book sooner. So a few weeks ago, one of my sophomores asked me, "Why do you teach high school?" And I don't think I gave her a great answer at the time because it's very complicated. So 17-year-old me knew that he wanted to teach English. Honestly, I love to read and write. I just didn't want to read and write about the things that my teachers assigned. I was obsessed with The Lord of the Rings and Stephen King novels and Jurassic Park. And my friends and I would read these books and trade them and talk about them. And we were baseball players too, so it's possible to be a nerd and be good at sports. And I would read poetry to girls, and I'd write it. And they liked it, and it felt good. Yeah, so 17-year-old me wanted to teach English. 17-year-old me wanted to teach English because he wanted to pass that feeling on to other baseball-playing, poetry-writing nerds like me. But my student a few weeks ago asked that question to 34-year-old me, and I'm twice as old as I was then, so the answer's a little bit different. When I think about going to high school, one of my first thoughts is literally about going to high school, like driving there. I didn't get my license until I was almost 17, so I had to get a ride until I was almost a senior. And every morning, my grandma drove me to school. She didn't have to. We lived 4 blocks away from the school, and I could have walked or gotten a ride from friends. And my grandma didn't live with us, but she came every day, and I probably would have rather gone with friends, but I couldn't say no to her. She was the kindest person I've ever known, and I couldn't say no to her because I knew how much it meant to her to share those few minutes with me and my brother, just as I knew how much it meant to her to be there every day when we got home with food ready for us to help us with whatever we might need until our mom got home. My grandma died about 3 years ago, and since then, I've thought a lot about how she helped me to become who I am. If you walk into my classroom today, you'll see a banner hanging on the front board with 9 class goals for the day. Those goals don't change, they're just things to shoot for every day. The first one is be good to each other. I think that whether she consciously knew it or not, my grandma woke up each day with that goal in mind, to be good to other people. She did a lot of great things in her life, but that's what I'll remember most, how good she was to us and everyone she met. So to answer my students' question, I teach high school because it's my best shot to pass that goodness on to other people who can use it to make the world a better place. And I want to say more about that, but first I want to tell one more story about a time when good people made a difference in my life. So when this year started, I was terrified, this school year. At the end of last year, as some of you might have been lucky enough to see, I left the building here on a stretcher in an ambulance. About a year ago, I started experiencing these episodes where my heart would start beating hard and fast, just out of nowhere. My chest would feel tight, I'd start to sweat, I'd be dizzy, my mind would race. Over about 5 months, this would happen almost every day, multiple times a day, sometimes in the middle of the night. And I couldn't sleep. I lost a lot of weight, which I have since gained back and more. This jacket doesn't really fit me right now. I went to the emergency room 3 times because I thought I was having a heart attack. And on the last day of school, during the last period of the year, that's where I was headed. I saw a lot of doctors last summer. I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what to do about it. And I didn't know what to tell anybody, so I kind of stayed away from people for a while. But after all the tests came back, the verdict was that I had anxiety, and I was experiencing panic attacks almost every day for months. And by the end of the summer, the attacks were less frequent, but as I started to get ready for the new year, I was afraid that it would all just come back. So I was terrified. I knew that if I was going to make it through this year, I would have to be able to reduce my stress and counteract my anxiety. But I also needed to get rid of the idea that this version of myself was worse than the version I thought I knew. The anxiety, the panic attacks had gripped me for so long, and I just wanted to be myself again. So I decided to make that first goal, be good to each other, my ultimate goal for this year above all else. I hope that if that goal could guide my interactions with you, the goodness might wipe away my anxiety and my fear. That was my hope. So what I didn't count on was you, my first semester students in particular. You reminded me of everything that's good about the part of my life that's spent in this building and the part of me that's dedicated to you. Some of the smartest, most talented people I know are on this stage right now. Even more of them are out in the audience, and I come here every day excited to see you again. To say good morning to Lily and Cece, 2 of the kindest people I know, to Coach Gregory and Sophia in speech, to work with Vince, my editor, my friend, to talk to Gabby about Twin Peaks, to teach you and work with you and learn from you. Yours have been some of the best classes I've had, and you're some of the best people I know. Your goodness, whether you knew it or not, helped me to make it through this year. So what does any of this have to do with National Honor Society? Anne Frank said, "Human greatness does not lie in wealth or power, but in character and goodness." I believe that goodness is the fuel that keeps the fire of character burning, and the fire of character will feed all of the others. To be good is to constantly seek knowledge and understanding. To be good is to use logic to guide your decision-making. To be good is to appreciate and create beauty. To be good is to value equality and to be courageous in its pursuit. To be good is to love one another in the world around you, to use your talents to make your community stronger, to do things that will help rather than hurt, to listen to each other, to talk to each other, and to be honest with each other. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's tough to do this every day, and sometimes it feels impossible. And if it sounds like a lot, just do what I did and look to the people around you to be your guide. I think about my grandma every day, and people like you constantly remind me of the good that can be done if we try. So that's my message. It's simple, but it can be everything. So don't forget it. Be good to each other. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Ruark. I work closely with Mr. Wenzel with the NHS students. I also teach English here at Canfield High School. Mr. Jennings, thank you for sharing your perspective and your heart with us today. Your message was clear and inspiring. One of the most rewarding aspects of teaching is witnessing students excel, not only in the classroom, but also as they mature and grow as young people. These juniors and seniors seated before you today have accomplished much through dedication and hard work. They have met and in many cases surpassed the requirements needed for membership into the National Honor Society, a difficult criteria that requires a cumulative GPA of 3.75, participation in a minimum of 2 school activities each year, a total of 60 hours of service to their community by the end of their junior year, and a positive evaluation of their character and leadership from faculty and staff members. They have spent countless hours studying, completing projects, taking notes, practicing sports, speeches, and rehearsing music and plays, and yet they willingly give of their time to help others. We are here today to congratulate these juniors and publicly recognize their accomplishments and encourage them to strive for even loftier goals. They do deserve credit for their successes, but so do the people who escorted them down the aisle today, as well as the many others who have spent endless hours helping them, loving them, and encouraging them to be the people that they are today. Please join me in giving the parents, grandparents, special friends, teachers, and administrators a round of applause for their hard work and dedication. Each year, we present the Leadership in Service Award to an NHS student who personifies the pillar of service. Many different factors are considered when determining the recipient of this award. These factors include one's attitude and willingness towards serving others, the number of hours of community service performed over the past 4 years, and the depth and quality of their senior service project. Our recipient this year has demonstrated that service to others is more than just meeting the 20-hour minimum. Our intent for community service is that students would get involved in the community, that they would realize that they can and should give of their time, talents, and resources, and that this should be a lifelong endeavor. We hope students find something they enjoy doing and go above and beyond the minimum numbers of hours needed. Over the past 4 years, this young lady has logged over 150 hours of community service. She volunteers regularly at her church, teaching and assisting in the instruction of young people and helping to improve her community. She has served lunch at the mission each and every month over the course of this year. This young woman has volunteered her time at the craft show, for Leo's Club, and for multiple student council events. She has participated in numerous fundraisers for the blind, angel tag drives for those less fortunate through the Salvation Army, and to raise money and supplies for Camp Fitch for her senior service project. Her true passion is speech and debate. Where she has been an active member for the last 4 years, she has spent countless hours rehearsing and training for her routines while also helping others prepare. She has seen all of this effort pay off this year as she has won multiple tournaments and placed in the top 24 at state. Truly, this young lady has learned the value of cheerful giving to others, As a side note, it has been my pleasure to have this young person in my prime time for the last 4 years, and to have had the honor to watch her grow and excel in all that she does. Please join me in congratulating this year's recipient of the Leadership and Service Award, Ms. Claire Berlin. Would our current NHS seniors please rise? Mr. Wenzel and I have enjoyed working with these seniors immensely and would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank them for their service and dedication to their school, community, and this NHS chapter. This year alone, these individuals have volunteered more than 1,800 hours of community service. They have served over 900 men and women food and designed, implemented, and managed their own service projects. Furthermore, this group piloted the After School Haven program, which provided bi-weekly tutoring for community children in need. Please join me in thanking our seniors. Thank you. Thank you, seniors. I would also like to take a moment to thank Mia Kajevic and Danya Bajwa for their hard work and attention to detail in coordinating this ceremony. Thank you, ladies. Juniors, you've heard some strong words regarding character, leadership, service, and scholarship. You've heard testimony of the accomplishments of those that have gone before you. Being a member of NHS is both a privilege and an honor. But with that honor comes great responsibility. Therefore, I challenge you to always work hard, be people of integrity, be compassionate to others, and willing to offer a helping hand. Very simply, when you find a need in life, fill it. So, class of 2020, will you continue to hold yourself to the high standards and ideals of NHS? Will you strive to reach the bar already set for you and push it even higher? If so, inductees, please stand and repeat after me. Let's pledge the membership. Repeat after me. Realizing the honor which has been presented to me by the election into the National Honor Society, I pledge myself to uphold the strong ideals and high standards this organization represents. I will venture further in my goals and strive to serve as an example for my fellow students. I will promote the betterment of my school, myself, and this organization to which I have been elected. Service to others, a broadening of my friendships, and a development of my intellect will serve as my desired attainment. I pledge myself to develop the 4 ideals of the National Honor Society and strive ceaselessly to make them a part of my life, now and hereafter. Congratulations. I now present to you the newest members of the Canfield chapter of the National Honor Society.
In closing, we would like to thank all of those who helped with us with today's ceremony. Certainly, without the help of our wonderful custodians, cafeteria workers, and secretaries, we would not have been able to honor them as we did today. We would also like to thank all of the teachers and administrators for their support. Students are now dismissed to their 4th block classes. Family members of inductees, please wait until all the students have exited. Then we invite you to enjoy the dessert reception in the cafeteria. Thank you for coming.